Luther, The Fallen Son is a 2023 crime thriller film directed by Jamie Payne and written by Neil Cross. It serves as a film continuation of Luther. The film stars Idris Elba, who also serves as a producer on the film. Reprising his role as John Luther, with Cynthia Erivo and Andy Serkis. Luther, The Fallen Son was released in select cinemas on February 24, 2023, before its streaming release on March 10, 2023, by Netflix. Idris Elba as John Luther, a brilliant but disgraced former detective chief inspector who goes on the run after escaping prison. Cynthia Erivo as DCI Odette Rain, the current head of the Serious and Serial Crime Unit, hunting down Luther and Roby. Dermot Crowley as Martin Schenk, a retired detective superintendent, the former head of the Serious and Serial Crime Unit and Luther's former boss. Andy Serkis as David Roby, a wealthy and psychopathic millionaire moonlighting as a serial killer, who uses surveillance technology to manipulate and kill civilians. He is also an adversary of Luther. Thomas Coombs as D.S. Archie Woodward, Rain's subordinate in Serious and Serial Crime. Hattie Morahan as Corinne Aldrich, the mother of a Callum Aldrich, a victim of Roby. Lauren Ajufo as Anya Rain, DCI Odette Rain's teenage daughter. Vincent Reagan as Dennis McCabe, a criminal associate of Luther. Einar Kusk as Arkady Kachimov, David Roby's right-hand man. Guy Williams as Tim Cranfield, a senior civil servant working for MI5. Henry Herford as Brian Lee, one of Roby's blackmail victims. Carl Spencer as Jamal, an armed policeman who worked with Luther, off-screen, on the Cameron Pell case. Tara Fitzgerald, uncredited, as Georgette Roby, Roby's ex-wife and victim. Samuel Winner, uncredited, as American teenager, one of Roby's viewers. Wealthy trader and serial killer David Roby blackmails and kidnaps cleaner Callum Aldrich. DCI John Luther is assigned to the case and promises Callum's mother, Corinne, he will find her son. Concerned about his involvement, Roby digs up dirt on the various illegal acts Luther has committed as a police officer, resulting in him being fired, prosecuted and imprisoned. Years later, Roby coaxes Corinne and the parents of other victims to a house where he burns their children's corpses. She visits Luther in prison, admonishing him for not finding her son's killer. Roby sends a recording of him murdering Callum to Luther in prison via a radio frequency. Luther informs DCI Odette Rain, the new head of Serious and Serial Crime, of the broadcast. He liaises with prison guards and former associate McCabe to break him out of prison. Rain brings in retired DSU Martin Schenk as a consultant. Luther traces Roby to Piccadilly Circus, where Rain deploys armed police SCO-19. The two confront him there, but some people he has blackmailed cause a distraction by killing themselves, jumping from buildings and crashing cars. Roby escapes into the London Underground after fighting Luther and murdering an armed policeman. Roby kidnaps Rain's daughter, Anya. Rain meets with Luther and reluctantly agrees to work with him. They visit Roby's ex-wife Georgette, discovering he owns property abroad. D.S. Archie Woodward, Rain's subordinate, is blackmailed by Roby into killing Georgette but is intercepted by Schenk, who was sent by Luther to protect Georgette. Archie commits suicide. Luther and Rain travel to Roby's mansion in rural Norway, where they discover he tortures kidnapped victims to death on a live stream called The Red Bunker for his followers. The two are overpowered, and Roby tries to force them to hurt each other to save Anya. Luther reveals Georgette told the police the location and they are en route. After a brutal fight, the three are able to escape the bunker, and Luther chases Roby into a frozen lake, where Roby drowns. Luther is rescued by police divers and Schenk. Recovering from his injuries back in London, he is approached by Cranfield, a senior official with MI5, who, it is implied, offers him a job in lieu of going back to prison. The work is the sequel to the television series Luther, 2010 to 2019, directed by Jamie Payne, written by Neil Cross. Actor Idris Elba stars and co-produces the film. Luther, The Fallen Son has a story independent of the TV version, the audience does not need to see the previous film to still understand the content. The film follows John Luther searching for the missing Callum Aldrich. Elba's character is introduced as someone who often breaks the law to solve cases. The work is the sequel to the television series Luther, 2010 to 2019, directed by Jamie Payne, written by Neil Cross. Actor Idris Elba stars and co-produces the film. Luther, The Fallen Son has a story independent of the TV version. The audience does not need to see the previous film to still understand the content. The film follows John Luther searching for the missing Callum Aldrich. Elba's character is introduced as someone who often breaks the law to solve cases. A serial killer disguised as a businessman, David Roby, Andy Serkis, obstructs the investigation, leaving the inspector in jail. In prison, the killer's message was sent to Luther. He secretly contacted Inspector Odette Rain, Cynthia Erivo, who accepted the open case to exchange, but was refused. Luther tries to escape from prison in the hope of quickly finding the wicked. Tracking down the crime, Luther concluded that the missing people all use the internet and social networks to express personal things. The perpetrator takes advantage of the victim's secret to command and blackmail them. In an interview with VN Express, Elba said, "Technology contributes to raising awareness and creating opportunities for people to connect. However, there is also a part used for bad purposes." Luther had many troubles, but he wants the villain to face justice. I think this is part of the message the work wants to convey. The film gives viewers a wide range of emotions with the confrontation between good and evil, emphasizing human capacity and compassion. From a hot-tempered person, Inspector Luther became soft, trying to convince witnesses to give information to arrest David. Odette is ready to sacrifice, confront the evil to protect justice, save her kidnapped daughter. The uniform acting of the star cast is a highlight for the work, most notably the roles of Idris Elba, Luther, and Andy Serkis, Roby. Elba shows the seriousness of incarnation in the segments that need to depict the character's depth. In some scenes of deductive reasoning, the actor showed enthusiasm through facial expressions and actions when he had to race against time to find out the truth of the killer. According to USA Today, Serkis said his villain is a socially isolated person who can only connect with people through observing their simple behaviors. The dangerous look of Roby is portrayed by the actor through his eyes and dialogue. Although the acting land is not much, Dermot Crowley, the role of Martin Schenk, Luther's retired former boss, still impresses the audience with his humor, helping the film to have many breaks. Series creator Neil Cross returns as a screenwriter, helping the work maintain the same emotion and rhythm as the TV version. On USA Today, the author said, "The work shows the character's vices. The dangerous look of Roby is portrayed by the actor through his eyes and dialogue, on the other hand allows us to bring the character to the limit." Luther, The Fallen Son is also scored by the intellectual battle, thrilling chase phase. The scene of a large room on fire at the beginning of the film gives viewers a feeling of fear and pain. The chase sequence at the end of the film creates a visual effect when Luther and Roby plunge the car into the ice hole. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, 67% of 92 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 6 out of 10. The website's consensus reads, "Longtime fans will be happy to have more of Idris Elba's brilliant detective, but Luther, The Fallen Son is a fairly uninspired addition to his case files." Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 53 out of 100, based on 32 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews.